Great. Bipin, thanks, Bipin. Renju, we'll give a minute still for the participants to join. Many of them are still joining in.
I think we can start.
We can start. Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the today's executive webinar, CBUAE AI Governance Mandate 2026. What financial UAE financial institutions must do now. So, on behalf of SISA, I would like to thank each one of you for taking time to join us today. Artificial intelligence is transforming the financial industry at an unprecedented pace. As organizations continue to adopt AI and Gen AI across customer services, operations, fraud management, and decision making, regulatory expectations around governance, transparency, and accountability are evolving just as rapidly. Recent guidance issued by the Central Bank of UAE marks an important milestone in helping financial institutions build responsible and compliant AI. Today's session is designed to help you understand what new requirement means in practice and how your organization can strengthen AI governance while continuing to innovate with confidence. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to introduce CISA and what work we do in helping organizations strengthen cybersecurity, AI governance, compliance, and digital trust. So CISA is a 2 decade old, 20 years old organization, and we are present in about 48 countries with a great customer landscape of more than 2,000 plus customers across the geographies. Now, if you look at historically, have the highest number of the audits done across the world, with the number of it's the number crossing over 3 lakhs so far in last 20 years, and we are by default the number one across in the PCI audits in the compliance journey. And if you see our coverage, as Renju is displaying, we have a global presence where we have the places where there is a mark mentioned where we have the billing locations, and we are covering almost entire worldwide into 48 countries. So in our journey and learning this, we have been crowned as the number one PFI payment forensic investigator worldwide, and we are the number one PCI QSA worldwide, and we are the number one compliance company worldwide. So why we are bringing in the compliance thing for our discussion today more is we have a learning curve in last 19 years, 20 years, which has helped us in developing different practices. So in the compliance, the payment security, we cover almost entire gamut of the offerings from the PCI, and in the strategy and risk, we are covering everything as well. So this comes and forms of offering from our side as a unified compliance. In the security, we are covering all the security testings, application, infrastructure, cloud, IoT. Everything is covered in the security part from our side. The best part, either in recent years, we have in the last 9 years back, we have introduced our MXDR solution, which is now an agent which is supported with Proact Agentic SOC. So this is a primary solution that we are focusing currently on the SOC management and our SIM solution. And then we have our Prism and data privacy solution. So today's webinar is more focused on the guidelines that is given by the CBUAE, and it has been our speaker, Mr. Renju Varghese, who is VP Head, Leading Tech Security at CISA. And Mr. Renju is a subject matter expert with an extensive experience in cybersecurity, AI governance, technology risk. And today he'll be sharing practical insights into CBUAE governance guidelines, requirements, and what UAE financial institutions are expected or advised to do. So before I hand it over to Renju, I would take a pause, and I would expect, if anyone wants to have any quick question, I would like to take it, or else I'll request Mr. Renju to take it over. Any questions coming in, you can raise your hand, or we'll just move on. Yeah. So thank you so much. Over to you, Renju, and we continue the session over there.
Sure. Thanks, Abhijit, and good afternoon to all of you. So on today, what we will cover, we will start with covering the various AI which is running across your enterprise. So basically covering a set of AI taxonomy, which some of it might be in unseen. Then once we cover that AI which is running across how are the various AIs running across your environment, we will cover the various ways in which you can risk or do a risk assessment for your AI systems, or uh, assign risk goes to your AI systems. What are the ways in which you can do that? Then once we cover the foundation, then we will go through the CBUAE guidance note. So we have around in the CBUAE guidance note around there are around 10 sections, and we will cover each of these 10 sections and discuss on how to operationalize it. Then we'll cover on what should be the first move for implementing the CBUAE guidance note, covering on your AI estate, how to create that particular AI estate for your organization. And we'll cover what are the major two roadblocks that shall implement or start compliance for the CBUAE guidance part. We'll cover why the AI discovery and AI observability is a prerequisite and not is a prerequisite for you to start your compliance journey. So to initiate, right? What are the major three phases of AI in a financial service or in any organization, right? We have the ML or the machine learning models, right? So these are the models which are trained on specific set of data and is being used to predict, score, classify, and detect anomalies. And as you know, most of the organizations are been running some form of ML or other for more than a decade now, right? Few of the examples in which the ML algorithms will be running is in your credit scoring systems, in your SIM systems, your fraud management systems will be used to your ML models will be running to able to detect if there are any anomalies, more able to predict what can go wrong part. Then from 2022 onwards, we have the large language models, which is basically a general purpose models that is used to generate, summarize, and reason over the languages. So uh, we definitely know ChatGPTs, clouds, etc. But in organizations, these LLMs are integrated within your applications, like say, for example, the chatbots, the copilots, or any document analysis. All those automations is being powered by large language models. And now we have AI agents, right? So AI agents are basically goal-driven systems that actually plan and act upon that specific goal. So for every AI agent, there is an LLM in the backend. All AI agents is the brain of all the AI agents is definitely an LLM. And agents just drive the LLM on the specific goal which is being assigned to it. Now, the agents will definitely have various tools, APIs, NCPs, and everything connected. So it can execute specific actions. So uh, just look at, say, the agentic SOC, right? So which is able to so if you see an agentic SOC application, you have the machine learning algorithms, which is basically is used to review all the logs and identify any anomaly. It gets identified, or any anomaly from the logs, right? These anomalies are then given to the agents to determine if the anomalies are true positive and false positive, and if it's true positive, the agents is again goal to take a specific action, like say for example blocking that particular IP address in your firewall. So if you look at the entire picture, the arc is basically starts from an ML algorithms or ML models, right? Then it moves to LLMs and to your AI agents. So there is a definitely shift from your prediction to an autonomous actions, and that is where the risk curve starts forward. So if you look at your organizations, right, you will find that AI lives in multiple areas. Okay, it's just not one place. It lives in multiple areas. The first one is definitely the users, right? So definitely your employees or the teams will be using AI as part of the LLM. So chat GPTs or cloud desktops or the browser extensions of these proprietary models and use it for their day-to-day activities. Definitely, I'm sure that most of the employees will at some point of time will definitely have used some kind of an AI system. But the risk is basically is linked to whether the employees or the users are uploading any sensitive data to these particular models and send these particular sensitive data out to those proprietary models part. So that's one uh, use case. The second use case, which you have in your might have in your organization, is basically your applications calling an LLM for a specific set of activity. So these days, most of the uh, call center agents definitely has an LLM in the backend, um, used to either summarize the call or used to determine how the call can be improved. So there are multiple ways in which the LLMs can be integrated to an application, and it can be for a specific set of tasks, or it can be for a much larger wide of workflows, which has been driven by the application. The third form is basically your agents plus MCPs, right? So this is where uh, the for the agents and the MCPs part, right? So this is where the agents gets deployed. Now these agents can be deployed in multiple areas. Now, as a user, as an employee, I can run my own agent. Just look at the cloud cowork. So cloud cowork, if it is being uh, configured to act on a specific activity, like say basically go through all my emails and reply to urgent emails, right? It can be just I can just connect to the Office G Suite or to the Auth365, and it can act upon the same. So that's a user agent. Then we have agents like the Codex or the Cloud Code agents, which has been used by your developers for developing the applications. Then you have agents which is being deployed by your IT or your infrastructure team for managing your IT infra. And also you have agents used by your applications, which is connects to your live database, to your or other API calls or other applications for doing a specific set of activities. Now, from a user agent or a user specific agent, it is definitely a user activity. It is basically used by users to automate their task. The challenge is definitely is these user agents or unauthorized agents by the organizations connecting to the organization network and maybe retrieving data sets. And the fifth one, which I missed out, is various autonomous platforms. So you have platforms like NA10, which can be used by either your departments or users for automating their day-to-day tasks and workflows. And in these NA10 kind of autonomous or automation platforms, it can link to your organization data sets like your emails, G drives, One drives, etc., for retrieving those content and differently send it to an LLM or an AI provider for doing specific set of tasks. So that's another set of agents and MCPs that you will face in your organization. And the last set is definitely your third-party systems, right? So every organization will have SaaS, native SaaS uh, used, or have third-party applications running in your network. And these third parties and SaaS providers definitely have AI agents or AI components being added, which again increases your AI deployments within your organization. And the most of the uh, pain point which the organization currently face is that none of these AI deployments gets captured in the traditional asset inventory or the IT inventory part, right? So earlier organization used to face shadow IT challenges. Now organizations are facing the shadow AI challenges because none of these deployments are being captured in your traditional asset inventory, and which is basically the heart of the compliance problem. So for any AI standard or any AI regulations, unless we have that particular AI register or the AI asset inventory, you are not able to implement the compliance or the governance as required. Now, let's assume that you have a AI register in place. Then you have to consider the risk part, right? Now, please note that not all the AI carries the same level of risk. Say, for example, your SaaS native AI, right? So, in a SaaS applications where SaaS or SaaS native AI, where your SaaS providers are using AI systems, the responsibility of governing the AI and everything is on that vendor, right? Because you have trusting the vendor with your data, and as per your agreements, you are ensuring that the vendor secures your AI, or vendors takes care of their AI systems part. Second, so that's the one of the least risk area. Now, increasing risk is an user-driven AI part, right? So basically, the browsers or uh, the desktop versions of cloud or ChatGPTs, where the team members or the users might upload sensitive data of the organization knowingly or unknowingly aspect, and it leads to a data leakage aspect. Still, the risk is low or a medium risk, depending on what kind of data gets uploaded. The third one is personal agents or MCPs, which connects to the organizational network. Now, this is much more dangerous aspect because in the first one, you know that okay, it's users who's going to upload the data, while in the personal agents, which connects to the organizational data set like organizational emails, Slacks, and OneDrives or G drives, the 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 risk increases because the agents can perform any kind of autonomous decisions, right? It can start from just reading the unread emails to it can start from replying back to all the email addresses or the email contacts to which is there in the email address book. It can take any kind of action, and as the agents a lot of acts a lot of in an autonomous manner, we don't know what kind of actions that agent is going to take. So there is known cases where the client has one of our organization has lost a contract because their sales team member used a personal agent for uh, reviewing or reading their emails and doing an auto reply. And in an auto reply, it sends another client data to the client A. And thereby it led to a lot of escalations and the client losing the project. So that's another risk which gets carried forward. Then the fourth one is AI being deployed by the organizations, right? Now, it increases risk because the moment an AI system gets integrated into the organizational network or to the applications, your attack surface increases drastically because it's a total brand new attack surface. And your traditional set of IT controls cannot control or cannot mitigate these new attack surfaces. The risk increase if the organization use an AI which is connected to a tools or an MCP aspect, right? Because if it's just an LLM which just gives you a response aspect, it is the risk is limited. But if that particular AI system is connected to your database, then an intruder can able to uh, trick your LLMs to give out more data from your database systems and everything. So the more the tools and MCPs being connected to AI systems, the risk increases drastically. The blast radius increases drastically. And the last one, or the most riskiest one, is your applications connected to an autonomous agents, right? So it can be uh, agents which again has tools and MCPs connected. Because in autonomous agent, it's not user driven. It's completely autonomous by the agents, and agents is a task. And any kind of activity by these agents can is not predicted, right? Because AI by default is undeterministic, and these agents, based on their goals, can be tricked to give a total different type of autonomous decision, or actions can be taken. So for every of AI systems, your risk varies, and also your risk is rises with how these AI systems have proximity to your data, what is the ability for the AI systems to take actions, aspects. Now, risk is also is based on what your AI system does, right? Now, if your AI system just returns facts, say for example, an internal HR policy chatbot, which states that okay, this is the set of uh, say the set of leaves that you have for the year, right? Just returns the basic fact. Your risk is less out there. But if your AI systems gives you a uh, uh, result which can, as a human being, you can act upon it. Say, for example, your analytics engine giving you a uh, uh, giving an action item to act upon the same, right? It's a more of a decision support system. Your risk increases because your AI systems can give you a wrong uh, analytics, and which can lead to a more compromise aspect. Then the next one is if the AI decides and then a human approves, like basically a human in the loop systems, right? So there again, the AI has decided while the final leg of approval is with a human. So think about an autonomous SOC response with a human in the loop systems, or a loan approval systems where the final approval has been taken by the bank manager part. And the final risk is an autonomous actions taken by that agent or an AI system, where the AI decides and executes with no human gate in between. So think of an autonomous refund agent, which based on the customer complaints is able to refund back that money back to the customer without a human in the loop approval part of it. So if you read all the guidance and regulations aspect, most of the guidance covers is basically is that okay, if the AI system just recommends, it's fine. But if it executes, that's where most of the regulators are concerned about. And again, your AI systems increases based on a severity engine, right? So there are three basically multipliers, right? So if that AI system has access to your customer data, then definitely the risk increases drastically. If your AI systems or agents is linked to a critical business applications, then the risk increases. And if the AI systems can take a financial decision, right? Means basically the authority to move money or uh, commit the give a commitment to a firm is definitely is of um, the risk again increases drastically. So just consider so if we have a chatbot, right? Now, if that particular chatbot is just used for booking an appointment, right, in your banking infra, then your risk is medium risk because the maximum it can do is just uh, book a appointment and just returns a confirm email aspect. But if that similar same chatbot has the power to decide to reimburse, so for example, in a chatbot, you have an ability where the users can or your customers can share the okay, there is a fraudulent transaction in my credit card statement. Please refund that money or block my card aspect. Now, if you have an AI agent which automates uh, uh, that particular workflow, right? And it decides it has the ability to decide and give that particular reimbursement back. Then that particular AI system is at very high risk part. So what it means is that before you start with any AI regulations or AI standard implementations, the foundation role or the foundation stone to be laid down is to do an AI discovery. And once you are able to identify all your AI systems, then risk it based on these parameters, which is basically uh, what is the AI actions taken and whether the AI has what kind of data does the AI have access to, because that is the foundation for implementing any of the AI regulations and standards. So getting back to the CBUAE guidance note, right? So the CBUAE, as part of their consumer protection and responsible standard, has given this particular guidance note on how to implement AI in a responsible manner for the licensed financial institutions in the UAE region, right? It is basically applies to all the licensed financial institutions, and by default, it also applies to any third parties which supports these LFIs part. What it sets, it basically sets a set of expectation from the consumer protection aspects, and it has around 10 sessions, with session 1 defining what an AI system is, and then section 2 to 10 defining these obligations. So one of the questions which comes in is that whether the AI systems is whether the CBUAE guidance note is it mandatory. Well, within the word itself, it's a guidance note. It's not a mandatory part of it, but it is linked to the Consumer Protection Act of the CBUA aspect, which is a mandatory part. So theoretically, it is able to mandate that organizations should comply with this CBUA guidance note, and definitely it's only a matter of time before this guidance note becomes a mandatory regulations part. So what does the CBOE guidance note cover, right? So section 1 definitely talks about definitions of set of AI systems. And for us, we said that what is a foundational first step? The foundational first step is basically is to do an AI estate, discover an AI estate, right? Because without your AI estate in place, you cannot able to implement any of these standards and the regulations aspect. So what do you need to look? You basically need to look at your source code repositories, your production servers and workloads, endpoints, your cloud environment, and scan your all these infras to identify your AI systems. So basically, how to build your AI estate? Like I mentioned, run AI discovery tooling across the code and runtime environments. and consolidate all these findings into AI bill of material, or what we call as an AI bomb. So there is AI bomb, which is AI bill of material covering your LLMs and AI systems and agents. For the agents, there is specific called agents bomb, agents bill of material. If it is just machine learning models, you have ML bomb, and definitely you have your software bomb, which covers your software assets and other details. Now, these standards is being defined by OWASP, the OWASP body. And what OWASP has done is that they have created a structure which says that every bill of material should cover these pointers, and they have covered something called as the Cyclone DX format. So every bill of material should be in this particular format so that it can be operated across various platforms. Now, the other question you come up is that how will I get this AI estate for my third parties or third parties application which is running in my environment? For that, you don't need to run it in their source code. You can ask the third parties to run these discovery within their source code and just share that Cyclone DX file, because the Cyclone DX doesn't cover your the application details and logic aspect. It only covers what is your AI state, what that particular model is, the model details, and the data set which is being used for training that particular model. So once you're able to create a particular AI register, then it for all your source of truth, you can always rely on that particular AI register to take actions upon. So once you discover your AI state, right, you go to the section 2 of the CBUAE guidance note, which basically talks about governance and accountability. Now, here for the governance and accountability, it has directly given the accountability to the board and senior management. So the section 2 of the CBUAE guidance note clearly states that the board and senior management is directly accountable for all the AI and ML outcomes part. You cannot leave the accountability to anyone else. The board and senior management is accountable for it. It also states that you need to have an AI policy and governance framework with defined roles for the audit and risk team members, internal audit, and the IT aspect. And also need to have a regular board reporting on the performance and the risk of the AI deployed in your organization. So how to operationalize it is definitely ensure that you have a complete AI inventory and estate map, and to demonstrate that what is actually running. And for each of those AI systems, have an accountable owner set. So here in the CBUAE, it only defines that senior management is to be defined. But if we go to the ISO 42001, it states that you need to have a accountable for the ownership. You need to have accountable for that AI system. You need to have an accountable person for that particular model. You need to have accountable person for the data set which is being used for training that particular model. So if you have an AI inventory, then it's easy for you to define those who will be accountable for each of those aspects. Now, one of the biggest pain point which organizations currently face is that without an AI inventory, you cannot show an evidence or showcase to the auditors or the regulators that you have your entire set of AI and ML systems which is operational in your environment part. So that's on the section 2, which is governance and accountability. Now, once we move to the section 3, section 3 talks about fairness, non-discrimination, and ethics aspect. So what does the CB guidance note requires? It requires that there should be no discriminative or manipulative AI, right? Including drift into your AI models after deployments. So it notes that there should be no discriminatory or manipulative AI even after the AI systems goes into deployment. So in AI systems, one of the major problems which every organization face is that when you do the testing, the AI systems works fine. But once it's been deployed, there is a chance that the AI systems gets drifted from its original intent and original action aspect. So that's what the guidance note states, that even after deployment, it should not drift, that it can lead to a discriminative or manipulative AI. The second one is that any training data which has been used should be accurate, relevant, and should be representative of the customer population served. Because if the training data is linked or has more data sets to a specific user group, or if the data set is not properly uh, 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 properly represented, by default, it can lead to a unpredictable or a non-discriminative action part. So training data part of it. The other one is mandatory bias testing, at least on an uh, uh, at least annually, or definitely after every material change has been happening. And every decision made by those AI systems with should be with honesty, fairly, and should be with the customer's best interest in place. How do you go about operationalizing the same, right? So when you do an AI discovery, and if you're able to capture the AI bomb and ML bomb, both the AI bomb and ML bomb captures the data set which has been used for training that particular models, right? Now, based on that particular data set, which is available in those particular form, you can then use this data set to showcase that how we are able to meet these particular requirements. There are chances that this bomb might not have those data sets. So in that case, you definitely need to go ahead and uh, create those data sets which have been used for training that particular models. And you use that particular AI state to say that what for this particular AI system, whether this AI system takes a specific decision, right? And whether that decision can lead to a bias or fairness aspect. So here for the mandatory testing, bias testing, it's not mandated that you need to test all your AI systems. You only need to do testing for those AI systems which can, or which is has an ability to take a decision, and that decision can have a bias or a fairness component coming in. Say, for example, if you have an AI system which can take a decision based on whether to approve a credit card or whether to approve a loan, you need to do testing because it can lead to a bias or a fairness aspect. But if an AI system which is used to determine a credit card fraud, then there is no need for a bias and a fairness testing, because a credit card fraud decision doesn't lead to a bias or fairness aspect, right? So based on AI state and what actions that particular AI system takes, you can determine, use it for determining whether you need to do the mandatory bias and fairness testing aspect. And for the final one, which is the decision should be made consistent aspect, you definitely need something called as an AI observability, because all the decisions taken by the AI systems has to be captured so that it can you can always refer it back at a later point of time. Now, the section 4 covers transparency and explainability aspect, which says that you need to disclose whether whether you're using AI to the customers, especially for any high impact decisions or any chatbot interactions aspect. We should be able to have an ability to explain how the AI systems has reached that particular decision. And definitely the disclosure has to be in plain language. And there should be an option available for the customers for uh, opting out, right? So if the customer says that, okay, I need to opt out and I should not, my decision should not be taken by an AI systems, then that feature should be available part of it. So definitely how to operationalize it. uh, from the estate, you know whether that particular AI systems is a customer facing, and if it yes, then definitely you need to have that disclosure in place. For an ability to explain the decision made by an AI system, you need AI observability, right? So AI observability basically captures the tokens, and it can be used to understand. So you can use the AI observability to capture the input tokens, any reasoning tokens, and the output tokens to explain that particular decision. So most organization thinks that for AI observability, it means that capturing the application logs. No, AI observability is not capturing logs, and you cannot use your standard SIM solutions for AI observability because logs doesn't capture the tokens, the actual reasoning aspect part of it, right? It only captures what is the, it can capture what is the input, what is the user has uh, uh, say, say inputted part, right? And it can capture what the result that AI systems has given out. So just basically basic application logs it can capture, but it's not a doesn't have the ability to capture at the token level, right? So for example, if you're uploading a particular KYC document to your AI system for making a decision, your input tokens or your logs will not able to capture that KYC details and what was the data or the embedded data set in that particular KYC document, which is used by your LLM to reason it out. Your logs will only capture that, okay, this particular document was being shared part. But if you're able to capture at the token level, then you have all the details which is required to showcase that how the AI systems has reached a particular decision. So AI observability is basically capturing the tokens which has been sent to an AI systems and the ability to capture the reasoning tokens or the reasoning which that model has done, and also capture the final output by the model at the token level. So that's a big difference from your normal logs and capturing the details at the token level. And that's where most of the organizations fails in complying with these regulations, right? So AI observability basically captures that details. And only because you are able to capture those details, you can also have the ability to monitor the drift, right? So drift is basically monitoring whether the AI systems has deviated from their original objective. So for here, when you're able to showcase that, okay, I'm able to explain why the AI systems has reached a decision. So you can able to do by the tokens that you capture. We can also able to explain the same by showcasing your drift engine, because uh, if you have already tested your AI system saying that, okay, this is specific action it's going to take, then you can always say that, okay, your explainability or changing that particular AI decisions is linked to a particular drift you can able to showcase. So for this transparency and explainability, definitely you need your AI estate to identify the systems which the customers interact and then have the disclosure form. And for explaining the decisions aspect, you need to implement the AI observability aspect. That's on the section 4 point. Then the section 5 talks about the data quality, privacy, and security. So it is linked to data which has been used for training that model. So here, one of the point to note is that this data privacy comes in if you are using any of your data for training your ML models or training your LLMs aspect. If you are not using your own data for training the LLMs or training the ML models, then this doesn't get that much importance part. So what it covers? It covers that you need to ensure that whatever data you're used for training the models is current data with clear data provenance and audit trails established. You definitely needs to, for all the data sets, to comply with the UAE, PDPL, and the data localizations and other standards of UAE. You need to ensure that whatever AI systems that you design has privacy by design, security by design, and is being stress tested and also validated against unsafe outputs aspect. And you definitely need to have an operational resilience to ensure that your redundancy, contingency planning, and incident response for your entire AI systems aspect. So again, how do you operationalize it? Because you have linked data, you need to get it from your bomb, right? So every AA bomb and ML bomb has the data provenance part or data set details comes part of that particular bomb details. And from that, you can able to showcase what data has been used for training your model part. And definitely for this data set, you need to comply with the current privacy regulations, so standards that you follow. Then from an AI observability aspect, you can use that AI observability to surface any AI related security incidents, right? So an AI observability, you can use it for security incident monitoring. You can use it for drift monitoring. You can also use AI observability for performance monitoring of your AI systems. Now, for the testing aspect, you can definitely have the teaming of the AI systems and AI agents, so that you can able to validate that, okay, those AI systems or AI agents doesn't gives any unsafe outputs part. So testing you can do, and also from AI observability also you can able to monitor if the AI systems has given out any unsafe output part of it, and definitely feed all the observability linked alerts and details to an AI incident response playbook. The section 6 covers the continuous monitoring and review. So what it does, what the guidance note states that you need to have continuous monitoring of reliability, relevance, and alignment with consumer protection objectives. You need to have a periodic independent third-party challenge of AI use, including the providers aspect. You need to test the vendors for auto updates before the rollouts, and they must these third parties or the vendors should not introduce any bias for your AI systems to decide. You need to detect, report, and remediate any issues and bias before and after during the deployment aspect. And also, you need to have a kill switch implemented in case if the AI systems goes bad. Now, again, the observability comes into picture so that you can have the token level of observability via the code level instrumentation. So for every of the AI applications, you can capture the token level. And then AI observability, you can link it to or wire the incident response from your AI observability to your LM firewall or an agent MCP or an AI gateway to trigger a particular kill switch. So for a kill switch, you need to have an LM firewall or an link to your agent MCPs or an AI gateways. So from your AI incident playbook, if the agents has deviated or if AI has deviated, you can trigger that particular kill switch to kill that particular connectivity aspect. And for you can also ensure that you can do a continuous AI pen testing. So AI pen testing not only covers from a security aspect, AI pen testing can also cover from a bias aspect. Because when you're going to do a pen testing, you're basically is understanding how your AI application or agent is working, and based on that particular work, create risk scenarios or threat scenarios which can be breaking that particular application, breaking that model. It can also have threat scenarios which can check for a bias part of it, and then mutate your test cases to test for those threat scenarios and risk scenarios aspect. So that way you are able to meet the specific set of CBUAE guidance aspect. Section 7 covers the human oversight and the consumer protection aspect. So what does the guidance note requires is to ensure that you have a meaningful oversight linked to the risk aspect. So for any human in the loop, human on the loop, or human out of the loop systems. And you can only have autonomous AI or AI agent deployed for low risk processes. If the process is a high risk process, then it is mandated that, or as per the guidance note, it is mandated that you need to have a human in the loop system in place. Then the level of human involvement commensurate with the consumer risk associated with it. The customer can request a human review or an explanation, and should have an option of a non-AI path if the customers choose for it. And definitely, it says that you need to have a clear complaint and readdress models for the customers to, or the consumers to challenge decisions and correct the input data. And definitely, should not be any AI-driven pressure selling or mistargeting or misleading marketing activities. So how to implement is to ensure that from your AI estate, identify those customer-facing applications and decision systems, right? And based on the risk criteria which we defined earlier, if that AI system has a high risk area, then it needs to have a human in the loop for that final decision making. You cannot have a fully autonomous systems implemented. Autonomous systems can only be implemented for a low risk process, but not for any high or medium risk process aspect. Section 8 talks about integrating with your existing frameworks, which means fold AI into enterprise AI risk assessment, AI risk informs, and informs by the risk appetite part of it, which it's complement your existing consumer protection and CBUAE regulations aspect, and treat AI consumer risk as a conduct risk aspect. We should have independent third-party review for in-house AI deployment part. So basically, get it your in-house AI deployments audited, and also you need to have a documented per system risk rating, including data sensitivity, capabilities, controls, impacts, and dependence aspect. How do you go about implementing this thing? So you basically implement two AI risk assessment. One AI risk assessment at the organizational wide aspect. So basically that risk assessment covers your entire organization part. And the second one is per AI application, right? Or AI application specific uh, risk assessment part. Why two? Because it clearly calls out that because of an organizational, I have a set of risks. That's the set of risk is different from the risk which each of your AI application can carry. And it's specifically called out in the guidance note. And every standard and AI regulations right now currently requires you to do risk assessment per the application, per that particular AI system aspect. Okay, how it can be manipulated, how it can be compromised, can it be uh, fair? Is it fair? Is it biased part? So there is a set of risk assessment aspect or that scenarios which you need to cover. Then definitely for all of your in-house AI systems, you need a third-party audit to be conducted. And definitely you also need to obtain audit reports from your third parties, which has AI deployed within your environment part, which again comes under section 9, where it says that outsourcing and third-party risk were for you need to carry out due diligence for any third-party AI cloud providers, uh, covering the reputational governance, security and data protection aspect. You should have the right contracts in place for these third parties, right? There should be documented, justified vendor selection process, and which includes an annual independent cyber reviews and a pre-deployment testing aspect. You should have an inventory of all the models, including third-party and hosted models, uh, with links to same as being in-house, and it says that avoid over reliance on any single provider, and use multiple vendors where feasible part. So how to operationalize is basically extend your AI estate to cover your third party and hosted models. You don't need for AI observability to get their source code. You can always ask your third parties to provide their Cyclone your bombs into Cyclone DX formats, which you can actually then integrate to your current AI estate mapping part. And the final one is Section 10, which basically ensures that you need to have the collaboration and innovation. You need to support the entire ecosystem on how to improve your AI implementations. And UAE has a lot of government led initiatives from AI part. And uh, in the last week uh, conference, which was held in Dubai, UAE has really defined a roadmap for being AI powerhouse by 2031, and it has a lot of implementations and roadmaps defined. So the CBUAE guidance note also uh, guides you that you should can be help in the entire ecosystem to improve the entire ecosystem aspect, right? So based on the entire CBUAE guidance part, what are the basic two roadblocks which has been hit is definitely your AI discovery, because without a proper AI discovery and a view of your entire AI estate, most organizations cannot implement these guidelines part. And the next one is AI observability, because without identifying what or how your AI systems is operating within your environment, you cannot able to showcase that you're compliant. So AI observability covers not only just security aspect, it covers your drift aspect. It also can used for your performance monitoring, cost optimizations, and all other details. Most of them are prerequisite and not nice to haves, not only just for CBUA guidance, but ISO 42001, Qatar Bank regulations, your FS, USFS, ARMF, your high trust AI regulations. These two becomes your foundation stone from which you can able to implement any AI standard or regulations part. So with that, how we can operationalize with CISA Prism. So CISA has a new solution called Prism, which is a complete AI security and governance platform. So we have Prism Discover, which can be used for discovering all your AI and shadow AI, and builds your AI bomb, ML bomb, S bomb details. We have Prism Strike, which is basically can do your AI, LLM red teaming, AI agent pen testing, AI application pen testing part of it. We have Prism Observe, which is an AI observability solutions, which is able to observe at drift detections, explainability, incident details, and can also trigger a kill switch. Doesn't do a kill switch, but can trigger a kill switch action aspect. So what are 6 things to take away? First one is to ensure that the AI is definitely distributed across your enterprise, and most of it is definitely unseen. So definitely you need to have and come to a complete discovery across your organization to get your AI register in place. And once you have that, rate every AI systems depending on the deployment type, your expected output, the severity of the AI systems, so that you have a risk rating for each of your AI systems in place. Then based on that, start implementing from section 1 to the CBUA guidelines aspects. And for any of your third parties, ensure that you get your Cyclone DX files so that you have a complete AI state of AI bomb, ML bomb, and S bomb visibility in your organization. So with that, we'll have the questions. So you have an option to write the questions, and Abhijit can read it out.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Renju. Actually, I have posted one of the questions that's put by Krishna on the chat. So could you check that on the
Okay.
chat? So Krishna wants to say that, like, has a query, like, how to avoid or prevent users from uploading organizational information onto these LLMs.
Sure. So for that, you definitely have the various DLP solutions in place. So for these DLP solutions, you can prevent this prevent any files being uploaded. You can these DLP solutions also can able to monitor the context what is being written. So the DLP solutions has evolved to such a manner that it can be used for preventing and monitoring those activities.
Okay. Yeah, I hope Krishna, your query was answered. Another question there is, does the mandate only talks about compliance to UAE PDPL, or we do need to consider other mandates like DIFC and ADGM laws as well?
So the guidance note has called out PDPL in the guidance note aspect, but it also has mentioned that your all your existing UAE regulations and laws is applicable part. So PDPL has been just called out separately, but it also has clearly mandated that your existing UAE regulations and laws is applicable part.
Okay. And there is a continued question, Renju, from the same attendee. He's asking, or she's asking that, does the mandate also specify the date for compliance with UAE PDPL?
No, currently it's a guidance note which has been shared by CBUAE. It is not a specific mandate, nor has it given that okay, this is the timeline that you need to comply with. But it is linked to your Consumer Protection Act. So what the CBUAE has considered is that your consumer protection is applicable to you, is mandated to you, and you need to comply with it. So it is riding on top of it, right? So at any
Oh,
point of time, they can always uh, uh, say quote the consumer protection part of it and state that okay, this guidance not is also so your AI systems also needs to by default comply with it. So
okay.
that's how they are planning that. That's how we think that they're planning to drive, but it's not mandated right now, or there is no specific timeline which has been mentioned.
Yeah. Hope this clarifies. The attendee's name is not there, but I hope this is answered. And Kritika is asking the similar question, that by when the CBUE guidelines has to be adhered. Again, expected timeline. So I believe you have already answered it. But if you want to develop anything on Kritika's query.
Sure. So currently, uh, when I've had interaction with one of the clients in UAE, what they mentioned is because it's part of the consumer protection, they are assuming that by default it will be compliant with this because it has been linked to that. So CBUAE guidance has been linked to your consumer protection, right? So that's how they put. It's something similar to Qatar as well. In Qatar, central bank also released something, and they have not called out separately that these AI guidelines has to be met or mandated part of it, but it is linked. Uh, Sorry, there's some disturbance out here.
Okay. So, yeah, meanwhile, I just would request all the attendees, thank you for joining. And if you could take a minute or so and just do the poll, the screen is open in front of you. If you want to suggest anything you have taken, like, something good learning out of it, or we can improvise it in some other way. So, 2 minutes of your poll will really help us optimize our engagement on such webinars in the future. Anybody wants to contribute anything or say, give any comments, I would be happy to receive it. Open to all. Sure.
I think there's one more question which says that how does Prism operate? Does it work with the current XDR? So
Okay.
definitely, Prism operates as a separate layer part of it. So the only detection engines and everything run separate. But once a alert is identified, it can be populated to any of your existing systems aspect. So if your existing systems or XDRs have the capability of connecting API or fetching or receiving those alerts, then it can be configured for it.
Yeah. So yeah, we have received thank you from Kritika. Thanks, Kritika. I hope your query is answered. And then, yeah, any other queries? We are happy to hear. Thanks, Suresh, for posting that Prism query. Any other thing that we can be of any assistance? Yeah. Thanks, Renju. Really appreciate, and it was very informative. I brought in different. Though I am also engaged very closely with the CBUAE and the government operations, but the use cases, the examples that you brought in was really helpful for getting into more understanding of it. And yeah, attendees, thank you so much for joining us today. It was pleasure to have you all, and please take in again. My request is the poll time. Give us your feedback, and we'll reach back to you again if there is there is some updates on this. Yeah. Thank you, Shobika. Shobika, over to you for any other updates.
Sure. Thank you, team, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye bye.